Here we go. Here we go. If you don't have any liquid, any water, you can't eat because you won't be able to digest it. You will die. You should have rice and things. Well, let me tell you, as a nomad, where am I going to get the water? I can't carry that much water. This is reality. If it gets really that bad that things are shut down, grocery stores are shut down. I mean, think about it. I don't know what the scenario would be that would happen. All over. You all know. You see it. If you're on social media, you see it on all of them. Something bad's about to happen. Are you ready? Okay? I got a really great comment, and when I did a screenshot, I cut off your name. I'm so sorry. So let me know in comments your name, and I'll give you credit for it the next video, okay? But you made some really good points, and this is something that, oh, there's a moth up there I brought back from camping. I gotta get him. Because you know what? He might crawl on me in the night. Let's see if I can get him. Nope, he flew away. Darn it. Darn it. Okay. Okay. Boy, that was a side note, wasn't it? You began talking about the current state of affairs in our world right now. And you say, what do I plan to do if we suddenly lose all power in the midst of a heat wave? Yeah. What will I eat if the supermarkets shut down? Okay. And you said I should get like 2 months maybe worth of sardines, tuna, chicken stashed in there. I agree. And you said you got bags of lentils of rice to create at least simple meals with some kind of protein. You don't have a pot to cook in. Yes, I do. I do. I've got a pot and I've got a butane stove. So at least a couple cans of baked beans. And you talk about Russia. Then you say, I can guarantee something bad is going to happen. A lot of people talk about that. So I want to talk about this. Then you say, what will the other nomads do? Yeah. There are so many elderly hanging by a thread, living in cars, vans, and $1 short from starvation. No fast food will be open. Picture, yes. People living in tents. Does anyone have a plan? I'm tired of hearing people say, you are not ready for what is going to happen. It's all over. You all know. You see it. If you're on social media, you see it on all of them. Something bad's about to happen. Are you ready? Okay? And I think the vacant people are the ones who know something is going to happen. I think your Google misspelled you a lot in this one because it's so long you probably didn't proofread. But that's okay. I am not criticizing because I do it all the time myself. Okay, so here we go. Here we go. This is my opinion and with the books that I've read about these scenarios, okay? Now, the book that has the closest scenario with what we're facing right now is by James. I wrote them down. I know it, but sometimes when I'm filming, my mind is jumping ahead to other things. So I wrote it down. James Wesley Rawls, and the book is Patriots. And I read it a long time ago, probably about 10, 15 years ago. But I'll tell you what, the total scenario of that book was the collapse of the dollar. Okay? Now, these are books that I've read, and I know there's more, but these are the ones I actually bought. And I know that I listened to a lot of audiobooks from libraries. They're written down somewhere. Earth Abides. That's one of the oldest ones by George Stewart. And that was, the scenario was a pandemic. Okay? Now, my favorite one is 1 Second After by William Forstchen. And the scenario is an EMP, electromagnetic pulse, and it would knock out our grid. And then one that I found endearing, but the least plausible, the way the book was, it'd be plausible that it would go that way, is Alas, Babylon by Pat Frank. And that is an actual nuclear war. Yeah. Well, let's go with, what I want to start with is my opinion on this. I'm going to turn this just a little bit. There we go. Here's what, can I do another side note? I'm just back from camping. I went and took a shower. I was shocked at how much sun I got. And my eyes seem like they're like all freaked out from being outside for 3 days. I'm not outside that much anymore. So, I know. I'm like an inside cat now, aren't I? But I was an outside cat, this weekend. And so my face, I'm just saying my face feels tight and dry. And even though I put that copper tone sunscreen, maybe it wasn't sunblock. I thought it was. Sunblock usually won't do this, but yeah, I just feel a little, but I did get my shower. I got my hair clean. Oh my gosh, yes, woo. I got the Sammy Hagar look going on. Or David Lee Roth, right? Okay, enough of that. My opinion is, now you mentioned that I should get lentils. And I mean, if this is, I don't know what scenario we're dealing with, but like you said, if grocery stores are shut down and the grid is down because of a heat wave, okay, that means we're not going to be getting any water. Water's not coming through the faucet because you have to have electricity for that, electricity for water to pump through. There's a train, whoop, whoop, for water to come through our faucets, right? To be pumped through. Okay. Well, if I'm not around water, and I'll mention the water again later, because just because there is water doesn't mean you can get any of it, right? Because of the books I've read. And I've also read, do you remember those one I think they were on Discovery. Yes. The Colony. There was 2 seasons, The Colony. They did scenarios, and it was like a reality show. They actually had people that volunteered to participate in this, and they coroned off an area. And one was a pandemic, and the other one, what was the other? Oh my gosh, I forgot what the first one was. Okay, an EMP or something, I'm not sure. Okay, well, one was in LA, and there was water. But what happened is there were marauders that totally took over the area. You had to join them if you wanted to participate in that water in the area. You couldn't get near it unless you became one of them. And the marauders aren't very nice. They were, in one of the books on 1 Second After, they were they had become cannibals, and you had to participate in it. Yeah, they were like the locust. Okay, so that's just a side note on the water. That just because there's water doesn't mean you're gonna. And if it's that serious, that doesn't mean you're gonna be able to get to the water and get any of it. You'd have to go at night, and then you'd have to worry about whether you're going to be captured. See, a lot of people, if you haven't read some of these books and seen and different scenarios and at least seen the possibility of what could happen, oh my gosh. I mean, you have no clue. You just think, well, I'm going to go out, I'm going to live on a farm, and nobody's going to bother me. Wrong. If it's that bad, you're going to have a militia to guard your farm, because they'll come and just take it over and kill you. I know that sounds really bad, but it is reality. It is reality. And that's the way it was in the book Patriots. What they did, the book that tells it like it is, or what it will be like, in my humble opinion, was Patriots by James Wesley Rawls. They had a group of people that planned for this years ahead. They bought some land. I think it was in Idaho. They bought some land, and there was one couple that stayed there and took care of everything and helped build it. But what the other ones did, they still worked. They were far away from it, and they worked. They were in different states. They worked, and they were constantly driving. Every year they would drive new things. They had weapons, ammo, food, water, oil, fuel. Oh my goodness. That's what and they knew that they would bring other people in eventually, but they were vetted. They had to prove that they had a skill. And if they didn't, they were sent on their way. Once they knew the dollar was falling, that they knew that was going to be the scenario, because they figured it was going to fall anyways, they all started making it. I think one couple didn't even make it. They had to travel, and they didn't even make it there. And every time somebody arrived, they told their story of what they encountered while they were getting there. So I know I'm jumping around right now, but this is reality. If it gets really that bad that things are shut down, grocery stores are shut down. I mean, think about it. I don't know what the scenario would be that would happen, but in Patriots, it was the dollar that fell. Okay. Let me go back to the food. And you say we should have lentils and we should have rice and things. Well, let me tell you, as a nomad, where am I going to get the water? I can't carry that much water. I don't have a swimming pool in my backyard that I can. And by the way, even if you do have a swimming pool, eventually the marauders will come and take that water. Or your neighbors will say, get out of here, get out of my way. I'm thirsty. I'm taking some of this water, whether you like it or not. And that they'd knock you down, and you don't really want to shoot people. You would have to have if you had a swimming pool. I always told my kids that in Ohio, they had a pool above ground. They said, oh, we got the pool. Well, how are you going to guard that pool? Because if nobody has water, they're going to come for your water. I guarantee it. Oh, yeah. So where am I going to get water to make all these lentils and the rice? And here's another thing. Digestion requires liquids. Water, liquid. You got to have liquid. And if you don't have any liquid, any water, you can't eat, because you won't be able to digest it. You will die. I mean, you have to have enough water to digest food. Okay? So here's where I'm at. I mean, you say, well, you need to have this and you need to have that. I don't even know what the point is. I don't mind having some food, but I'm not going to stockpile food. Now, let's just say let's say I was in Tucson and I've got my storage, okay? I can store food in there. Now, they don't want me to, but, I can get it in there. And I can store water in there. Oh, my gosh. But am I going to be able to get through the gate to get in there? Do you know what I'm saying? Because if the electricity did out, that gate's going to be closed. Now, I guess I would have to jump the fence. But how am I going to get things? I would have to have help that they would have to park there, and I'll just keep bringing things and throw it over the fence. I'm trying to think realistically on this. Well, I just don't know. In truth be known, I don't know if I'd survive. I really don't. And if I don't, that's okay, because I know where I'm going. I have, my faith is there, and that's the way it is. But it would be a rough way to go, wouldn't it? To starve or to die of thirst. I mean, if it's that bad, billions of people are going to die within the first couple months. Can you imagine the stench? Oh my God. So when you're talking about this, you're talking about major disaster. You're talking about the oh my gosh. Yeah, the oh my gosh. And that's where I'm at. I've lived a wonderful life. I've lived a happy life of childhood and everything. But I don't think I would survive because I'm not in a community. You say, what are other nomads going to do? Here's the thing. Let's go to 1 Second After book by William Forstner. That was great. It was in North Carolina, I believe. And it was sort of out, not in a big city. Well, when the scene of that was, it was an EMP. And what happened, they lived sort of near the highway. Well, the cars just stopped, right? So there's all these people traveling, stuck, and they're not home. They're not in their own community. So the community that the main characters in 1 Second After are in, they can't take everybody. I mean, they can't take all these people in. They had to form a militia. Yes, they did. I think there was a college. I think it was a Christian college. Yeah. And they got weapons for them, and they trained the young men and the women. And they hunted because it was in North Carolina. It was sort of in the back, not backwoods totally, but yeah. And everybody knew each other, but they would only let people into the community if they had a skill and knew what they were doing. Otherwise, they were out. What they did was they had to have guards all the way around their whole area in their woods. Let me get myself comfortable here. So, yeah, it's not going to be pretty. And first, I mean, it's a really good book, 1 Second After. It'll open your eyes because our grid is so fragile. It's an old grid, and it's very fragile. And I believe if a country wants to take us over, they're not going to put a nuclear bomb on us because they want to use the land. I mean, a lot of the Chinese have already bought up our farmland, and they're shipping the food back to China, and they're storing it. Well, they don't want to hurt that, so what they'll do is they would shoot off those a nuclear bomb way up in the sky that would knock out our grid, and if they do a bunch of them, they could take out the whole United States, right? Yeah, people will. The bulk, 90% of the people, they say within 2 months are going to die. Think of all the people on medications that can't get them anymore. Diabetics will all go, they'll pass. Anybody in a nursing home, anybody that needs major medication. And then you have to worry about the mental illness. You've got people who are schizophrenic that won't be taking their medications, high mental illness, things like that. And what are you going to do with the prisons? What are you going to think about all those implications? I think the least of my worries is going to be whether I have rice and lentils. I mean, people are going to be going freaking crazy, and you're going to have to deal with them. But you say, what will nomads do? Well, like I mentioned, we're not in our normal place. We're not connected to a regular established house community, a town. I mean, here, I don't know anybody in Flagstaff. I know a couple people, but they're not gonna, they're gonna be saying, okay, we are here. Outsiders, be damned. Shoot them. And it'll get to that because they'll be like, they're not taking my food. I know, it's a pretty picture, isn't it? I talked about this before, but I did like your comment, and it is valid question. And I'm giving you my opinion of it. Now, Alas Babylon by Pat Frank, it's an enduring book. It is good. It is good, but I'll tell you what, it's unrealistic. It was too, it was way too rainbows and unicorns. It ain't gonna happen like that. I mean, they didn't tell anybody, they didn't talk about anybody, marauders are trying to do this or trying to do that. No, if they did, it was very little. Yeah, okay, that was about it, yeah. And then, I think, do I have too much light here? Maybe, I hope the video goes okay. Yeah, oh well. Oh well. Because my eyes are like, okay, and then Earth Abides, that's a good book. Earth Abides, that's one of the first, I think that's one of the first books that talk about like the end of the world as we know it, right? It's by George Stewart, and that was through a flu. And the scenario, it's really endearing. This guy is hiking, I think up in California, and he's hiking, and he gets bit by a snake, okay? A poisonous snake. And he finally gets to like this cabin, this deserted cabin. And he goes into, I think it's like 2-3 months that he was like totally out of it. He didn't die. And he healed. And it's sort of like, what's that one where he wakes up like 100 years later? That one story, I can't think of it. He walks out and he can't find anybody. And so then he goes, he kind of travels the whole country to get back to where his family was. And he actually went into New York City. And there's pockets of people that were alive, but sort of like The Stand, remember that? Oh my gosh. But this was sort of, it made you think, but I don't know how realistic it was. But then what they do is they start a whole new society that's just bare minimum. But for a long time, they lived on cans of food. I think for 2-3 years, they could still find cans of food. But eventually the cans were no more. they ate all the stuff that they could find in cans, and they had to start a whole new society. Bedtime tea, sleepy time, bedtime tea. So, good questions, very good questions. And it's pretty grim, isn't it? But it's the truth, it's reality. My faith is in God, and that's all I can say. I'm not carrying that much food with me right now. I'm really not. And probably when I get back to Tucson, yeah, I'll store some more stuff in my storage. But here it's like, I just don't have the space, and I would have to carry cans with liquid in it, like cans of beans, things that have liquid in it. And I just don't have the space or the I don't want that weight in my car. And I don't know how long it's going to keep me alive anyways. I know. So there you go. Well, I'm sure that I have tickled your brains on what could happen and what will happen if that does happen. And I love you guys. I really do. So please subscribe. I want to hear your opinions. And I laugh through these things, and I've had some. So please, okay, let me go through things that I don't want you to do. Do not berate me for laughing at this, because this is the way this is my personality. And if you don't like it, well, there's other people to watch. That's all I got to say. But I do laugh at the absurdity. I think I'm more laughing at the absurdity of it all. Like, this is life. This is what our life has become now. Who knew, like when I was growing up, a little kid in the 50s, that it was going to be this? Who knew this? And then also, Well, I guess that's it. Oh, and don't accuse me of being a doomsday person, a fearmonger. These things are real. And again, I say, if you don't like it, well, like, you can just walk on off to another channel. But I think 99.9% of my episodes, the Minivan Lee Show, is positive. And actually, this is positive. I'm positive that I'm probably not going to make it. I'm probably not. The old saying, if I had to run for my life, I'll probably die. Because I'm 71, I don't run anymore. I don't run. Even going camping for 3 days, oh my gosh. Yes, I'm just, I need to rest. I'll be going back in a couple of weeks, and I'll be there for 8 days. Who knows what's going to happen after that. So, okay. I love you guys so much. I do. Bye now. Come back tomorrow.